In a world where luxury is often associated with material possessions, there exists a realm of opulence which transcends the tangible. Welcome to our journey into the essence of luxury. Today, we delve into the world of Rolls-Royce, a symbol of unparalleled luxury and craftsmanship. A Rolls-Royce embodies this philosophy as it effortlessly combines timeless elegance with cutting-edge technology. So, as we embark on this journey, let us redefine luxury altogether. Let us explore the intangible, the extraordinary, and the transformative power of true luxury, and the history behind it.
Let's talk about another beginnings, but a more beautiful beginning of a fairy, perhaps. When we talk of a fairy, one image that leaps up to our mind immediately is that of the Rolls-Royce fairy. How did that story begin? How did the Rolls-Royce company take off? As a matter of fact, it's the combination of two very different characters. The two men who met over lunch at the Grand Central Hotel in Manchester sometime in early 20th century, 1904 as a matter of fact, and that was the dawn of the age of motor car. So these two characters who met for lunch in Manchester could not be more different from one another. There was C.S. Rolls. Rolls was an old Etonian. He was 26, a highly adventurous character. He came from a very rich Monmouthshire landed gentry family. He was enthusiastic, very likable, had a passion for speed and machinery. He studied mechanical engineering at Cambridge. As a matter of fact, he won a half blue in Cambridge for bicycle racing and bought himself a 3.75 horsepower Peugeot, the most powerful car at the time. He was a motor racing enthusiast and also into ballooning. In 1900, he won the 1,000 miles reliability trial. That made him the best known autocarist. Yes, that's what a car enthusiast was called at the time. The best known autocarist in England. In 1903, Rolls and another partner, Claude Johnson, set up a company to import and sell foreign cars. But in his heart of hearts, Rolls wanted to give his name to an English car, which would be the very best in the world. The other man Rolls was meeting for lunch that day in Manchester was Henry Royce. He was 14 years older. He was 40 at the time. He was big, bearded, and solidly built, and workaholic, a perfectionist who had come up the hard way. He was no ordinary man, but a man of exceptional ingenuity and power of overcoming difficulties. His father was a struggling miller. He had begun to earn money as a paper boy selling newspapers since he was 9 years old. Somehow he managed himself an education at a night school and took an engineering apprenticeship. He started an electrical engineering business in Manchester before starting to design and build his own car. His car made an excellent impression for speed and reliability on another autocarist named Henry Edmunds. Now, Henry Edmunds knew Charles Rolls and more or less dragged him, Rolls, to meet Royce in Manchester. The two men took to each other almost instantly. and agreed to form the Rolls-Royce car company. Rolls was so delighted with Royce's quiet, little two-cylinder car that he borrowed it on the spot, drove it back to London, woke Claude Johnson up in the middle of the night and insisted on giving him a ride in it. By the end of 1904, the first Rolls-Royces were appearing, with the characteristic radiator, which would become the world's best-known symbol of supreme motoring excellence. Claude Johnson ran the company as managing director. Royce designed and built the car, and Rolls put them in the public eye. In 1906, he won the tourist trophy race in the Isle of Man at an average speed of 39 miles per hour. That year, Rolls-Royce produced a luxury 6-cylinder car, which was called the Silver Ghost. And the Silver Ghost ran so smoothly, a glass of water could stand on the engine without spilling. The length of it, the silence, the stately form of it, Royce's biographer wrote, and I quote, were beyond anything the motoring world had ever known. For 16 years, it was the only model Rolls-Royce built. So the Silver Ghost was at the time the best-selling car of the world in the early 20th century. Rolls-Royce moved on to be a behemoth. It went into engine manufacturing, it went into aeronautics, and by the Second World War and later, it would emerge as one of the most famous and best performing automobile companies in the world. Even today, a Rolls-Royce is known as another name for luxury. But do please remember that excellence, fairy tale excellence, was built by the partnership of two very different men. As the saying goes, and every stereotype has a grain of truth in it, unlikely partners probably make some of the time the very best partners. So that's about it in this episode of History Chatter. I'll be back with another fairy tale story which would nonetheless be true. Looking forward to seeing you next week. This is your friend Anirban signing off. Do subscribe to History Chatter in Epilogue Media website and other platforms in which it's available and up.